If you feel like you are outgrowing your space right now, you are definitely not alone. My name is Roy McDonald from Macdon Associates here in Clinton Township, and today on Tuesdays with Roy, we're going to be talking through the process of moving up, the process of purchasing a larger home and selling your old home. We're going to be talking about pros. We're going to be talking about some of the cons of that process, as well as your 3 best next steps when it comes to taking that step and going from the home that you're in now into the next home. Stick with us. Here we go. Before we even jump into this and before we're talking through the pros and the cons, we really need to narrow down who is it that we're talking about. There's really a large number of people who would be in this position. A lot of them revolve around your family growing larger, and maybe you're adding a second child or a third child and you're going, man, we're just running out of the room here in this house. We're busting at the seams and it's time for us to get a little bit larger. So maybe that's you. Maybe you're on your second child, about to have your second or about to have your third child, and you're going, man, we need another bedroom. I can't use this third bedroom as a home office anymore, and I really don't feel like being in the basement anymore and sitting in what feels like a dungeon and getting no sunlight in. I need to upgrade. I need to have a different home in order to put myself in the greatest position to continue doing what I'm doing at home while also giving my family room to have the house that they need in terms of space. Maybe it's exactly that. Maybe you're looking at this and going, man, I'm in a spot where I have the number of bedrooms that I need, but I need a little bit more space for an office. I need a little bit more room for me to be able to do the work that I need to at home. And so adding an office to our square footage would be a huge, huge upgrade for us. Maybe you desire having a larger yard or a bigger backyard and being able to entertain. Maybe you're some of those people who love to entertain outdoors in the summertime, barbecuing and playing cornhole in the backyard, or whatever it might be. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's an interest in just having more outdoor recreational property. Maybe you don't want to upgrade the house at all, but you're looking at it and going, man, I drive up north once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week to hunt, to go check on our other property, to check on our camper up north, whatever it might be. And us being in a position where we have a larger home and more specifically a larger yard, it gives me the ability to be home more often because I'm now not needing to leave the house in order to do the things that I do outside. The 4th group of people the 5th group of people are those who need more room in their house just for like flexibility and things like that. So it could be the camper, having a place to park that on your property. It could be a place to park a boat on the property. Maybe you really love doing woodwork and you're going, man, we've tried to make this basement work for a really long time, or we've tried to make this garage work for a really long time, and I really need to upgrade and have a pole barn, for example, in order for us to actually make this happen long term. That's another area that people are really focused in on when it comes to upgrading right now. So those are the people that we're talking about, and if that's you, you're not going to want to miss the rest of this video. So when it comes to the process of upgrading, going from the home that you're in now that's a little bit smaller to a larger home, there are some definite pros and cons in that process. We're going to talk about some of the pros. We're going to talk about some of the cons right now. Some of the pros are a lot of the things that you guys are thinking. Hey, we have more room. We don't have enough room. We need a larger house so that we have more room. Whether that's bedrooms, a play area, an office, whatever it might be, that is a huge, huge positive. That's just reality. It's a good fit for you guys. It's a better situation for you and your significant other, your spouse, your family, whatever it might be. That is a huge, huge positive. It's a real thing, and it's just a reality behind the market. And having a larger home, you end up having more space, which is what it is you might be looking for. Some of you might be looking for a better fitting location. And what I mean by that is it might not be the house that's the problem right now. It might be driving the kids to soccer practice, driving the kids to hockey practice, driving the kids to baseball, whatever it might be. You're taking them to all these different things, and it's limiting the amount of time that you have together in your home as a family because you're spending an hour a day or whatever it might be, a couple hours a week in the car driving to where it is that you want to go. Or it could be, functions that you go to, areas that you like to spend time. Being closer to those areas puts you in a greater position to be able to be in those areas more. That's another huge positive. Another really big positive, and a lot of people don't really talk about this, is when it comes to your move, going from the smaller home to the larger home, one of the big positives right now in the market, and we're going to talk about it, this is a con too, is the lack of inventory. There are a lot of first-time purchasers that are out there looking in the market right now, and there are just not homes for them. So your home coming on the market might actually put you in a position where you're walking away with more money because you're the only home in the neighborhood that's on the market. Because there's a lack of supply, it increases the demand, which increases what you end up netting and walking away with from the sale of your home. Those are three really, really big cons, or excuse me, three really, really big positive, big pros when it comes to this, this process of making this move. Now to dig into some of the cons, some of the negatives when it comes to making this move. A lot of these you guys are gonna already know, but to dig into them a little bit deeper, when you have a larger home, you have more maintenance. When you have a larger yard, you have more maintenance. It might take you more time. It might take you more energy. It might take you more money if you're hiring somebody to do some of these things, but doing that is gonna cost you more money. The cost of having a larger mortgage payment, it's something you need to prepare for. When you buy a larger home, you end up having a higher tax bill. When you buy a larger home, you end up having a higher insurance bill. Being prepared for those things is the biggest thing that you need to kind of be thinking about in this process, is being ready for that move, being ready for the higher payments, being ready for the higher costs when it comes to maintenance. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and it might be something that you know about, but it is a negative. It is a negative that you need to be prepared for. The other negative right now is the lack of inventory. We talked about this as a pro when it comes to selling your home. It's a negative when it comes to purchasing a home. Now, right now, in Metro Detroit, we have a severe lack of inventory. It's come up quite a bit from where it was previously and even being more severe, but it is still lacking. There is still a lack of inventory in the market, and you need to be prepared for that. And the reason for that is because I talk to a lot of purchasers right now, and maybe we're out and we're looking at 2-3 houses in the course of a month. And the reason for that is because there are 2 or 3 houses that are in these buyers' interest, in their price point, in their what they need in a home. There's just not anything else. It's just a lack of what it is that's out there. We're going to talk about that a little bit more when I get to our next steps for you, and your first point and your first step when it comes to this. That's a huge piece, because there are ways for you to find homes outside of what it is that you're seeing online, but we'll get to that here in a second. The last con is the process. The process of buying a home. If you've purchased, you know purchasing a home is strenuous. It is difficult. There's a lot of hoops you need to jump through. There's a lot of paperwork that's involved. There's a lot of reminding people to send stuff over from work over to your loan. There's a lot of next steps for you that you need to be prepared for. And when you add you're selling a home and you're purchasing a home, you are doubling the stress. It's just something that you need to be prepared for when it comes to this process, is knowing, I know what it takes to buy a home, and now the process of selling a home, which maybe I've never done before, I need to know exactly what to expect when it comes to this sale so that I'm ready for it. It is strenuous, it is hard, but keep in mind at the end of this, if the goal is buying a larger home, it fits your family, it fits your lifestyle, it fits your situation better, it's gonna end up being better for you, and that stress is gonna be short term. In the long term, it's having more space, having more time is a really, really big positive. So you're probably hearing this and going, yeah, the pros and cons, I know the pros to this, that's why we're even looking, and I know the cons, I'm prepared for that, I know what to do. I don't know what to do now. Now that I have this information, I don't understand what my next step is. Here's your next steps. These are the 3 next steps that you, if you're planning on upgrading in 2026, you need to take. And you can take them as soon or as late as you possibly can, but taking them sooner is gonna prepare you for what's gonna come, versus if you wait, you're gonna be in a spot where you're not ready for it when the time does come. So the 3 next steps for you. First and foremost, you gotta reach out to us here at Macdon Associates. What we do with every single person is we sit down with them and we go through the entire process of buying and the entire process of selling. Then we take the two things and we put them together and we go, look at, this is what this looks like. Here's when the house goes on the market. Here's when you have an offer accepted. Here's when you have an inspection completed. Here's when you have an appraisal completed. Here's the process of purchasing. And we go through all those steps and we overlap them so that you can get a good idea of what time frame looks like, of knowing when the sign goes in the yard all the way until you're done with the house you're in and you are living in the house that you want to purchase. That is a huge piece. The other thing that I wanted to bring up in this too, and why you need to talk to us, we do a ton here of off-market sales. What I mean by off-market sales are homes that have never hit the market. They've never been on Zillow, they've never been on Realtor.com, they've never gone to the MLS, and the reason for that is we sit down with every single client that we work with prior to them ever going on the market. And we go through the whole process and we ask every single one of our clients, if I have a purchaser who's ready to buy your house at this at this price point right now, or prior to your time frame of when you were originally expecting, would you be interested in selling the home then? We have that conversation with everybody. And oftentimes what that leads to is finding a purchaser prepared, ready, approved, ready to rock and buy that house. And we're selling these homes off market to these buyers from these sellers who are then moving on to their next step. And maybe, if you're a buyer and you're in that situation, you're going, man, I'd love to buy an off-market property. I can't stand the idea of having to go look at houses right now in this cold, or I don't want to jump through the steps that I had to of looking at 60 houses in 2021. I don't want to do that. I just want to be prepared and I'm ready. Show me the house, I'm ready to buy it. And if it matches what it is that I'm looking for, I'm ready to rock. If that is you, you need to talk to us. And the reason for that, we've got a ton of off-market buyers, a ton of off-market sellers right now that are waiting until spring. But if the right offer came across, I can guarantee majority of them would be ready to sell right now. So capitalize on that as soon as you can. Second step, so you've talked to us at Macdon Associates. We've gone through the process. You know what to expect when the time does come. Your second step, go out and get pre-approved. Now we have a list of right around 7 or 8 lenders that we send all of our clients to. We say, talk to these guys, go through the process, see what they have to offer, see what this other loan officer has to offer. That way you can narrow down what's best for your family and your situation. We have seen clients right now, this is kind of a sneak peek. If you stuck around for the video, this is a little cool piece for you, a piece that might push you over the edge when it comes to your timing and put you in a better position. We have had clients close in today's market with almost 7% interest rates. I had one close Wednesday at 5.3%. I'm not kidding when I say that. I can show it to you if you're interested in seeing it, and I'm able to hook you up. Gladly, I will hook you up with the loan officer who pulled that off for us. And for our purchaser, 5.3 interest rate, unbelievably low. I have not seen one that low in the last 4 or 5 years. It was incredible. So if you want that connection, happy to hook you up with them, but go and get pre-approved. Now, some of you might be watching this and going, hey, Rory, I stuck around for the video. However, my aunt, she's a real estate agent. I'm going to be using her. I'm not going to use you. That's fine. I understand that. I can understand the loyalty with family. That makes total sense. However, one of the things that agents often forget to tell their clients is when you talk to that loan officer, tell them very specifically and blatantly, just like this, I do not want you to do a hard credit pull on me when it comes to my pre-approval yet. And the reason for that is twofold. One, there's just no reason for them to do a hard credit pull. Every time that you do a hard credit pull on your credit, it dings it and it goes down ever so slightly. Now that might not ever affect you when it comes to your sale, when it comes to your purchase and your qualification, but why lower your credit just by having your credit pulled? It doesn't make sense to do that. The other reason for that is whenever it is that you have a hard credit pull done, there's these things called trigger leads. Whenever it is that happens, there's this load of loan officers that's going to be reaching out to you and saying, hey, I noticed that you signed up for a mortgage. You're interested in getting a mortgage. We're calling you now. We're peppering you with phone calls. And I'm not kidding. You'll get 60, 70, 80 phone calls a day. And I don't want you to have to deal with that throughout the holidays. So a little snippet for you guys. First step, reach out to us. Second step, go and get pre-approved. Third step, and this is the fun one. This is the one that you really get to dream about and have fun with, and that is narrow down what you want. Now, there's wants and there's needs. Focus in on the needs. You know what you need. You know you need a larger yard. You know you need that 4th or 5th bedroom. You know you need more square footage. You know you need a basement. You know you need a 3-car garage. All of those needs, that's the fun part. That's the part you know this is what we got to do. The wants, you get to kind of dig in a little bit more and say, okay, what do we want? Do I want the man cave? Do I want the she shed in the backyard for all my gardening? Do I want an updated kitchen? Do I want everything finished so we don't have to deal with the process of renovating when we move in like we did with our last house? Do I want a walk-in shower? You get to dream a little bit in this process and really narrowing down what it is that you want in your next home. That is your next step. However, if you don't do your first step and you don't understand the process, it's going to be really difficult for you to be able to dream. If you don't get pre-approved, it almost becomes impossible for you to dream because you don't know what price point you're working at when it comes to a purchase that is comfortable for you as a family. You want to be in a spot where you're buying a home that is comfortable for you to purchase. You don't want to be in a spot where you can't take that vacation you take every year. You don't want that. And so it's really, really important that when you're doing this, you're doing that first step, you're reaching out to us, we're having a conversation, you're doing the second step, and that is going and get pre-approved, and then you can follow through and you can do the third step, which is now let's dream, let's dig in, let's see what it is that we actually want in a home in order for us to make sure that we're not doing this prematurely and buying a home that quite honestly we don't necessarily need. We're buying more stuff that we don't necessarily want to take on, and we're able to accomplish what we want to by having more space, more yard, whatever it might be, you're able to get to that. So your first step is to reach out to us. So that is what you guys are going to do. You can call us here or you can DM me. That'd be great. Phone number here at Macdon Associates is 586-300-3034. Happy to answer any questions that you might have. It's a free consultation. We'll go through the entire process with you, even over the phone if that's best for you, and really helping you guys when it comes to this next step. So we're in the holiday season. Have an incredible holiday. I'm very excited for you guys and your family, your significant other, and all the things that are going to happen in this season. But besides that, you have a very blessed day. We'll see ya.